welcome to the Investing Bros here on YouTube. I am Tshroom. If you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and smash that like button. We're really happy that you're here. We're going to be talking about the top 3 coins that I really like and that Crux really likes, so it's really more like the top 6 coins. You're getting the maximum bonus. We're going to get into the news. We're going to get into some TA, and we're going to get into some of the most bullish headlines that we've seen this year. It's all going to be on the other side of the intro. Let's get it. It is Monday. How are we feeling, Crux?
It's another weekend that it was blessing. I just felt like God's been here for me, and it's just been nice, with family, with friends, and just the opportunities to talk more about crypto. And we saw what happened last weekend, on Friday, and I took a lot of time to think about this, and think about the markets and think about just like how we have the luxuries here in the United States to actually have time to not have to worry about, possibly losing family members and these kinds of things. So it's just been a blessed weekend full of opportunity, but I'm glad to be here with the bros.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, there were definitely some scary events over the weekend that caused some kind of reactions to the market. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But today is seemingly a bullish day. We're going to take a look here at the crypto bubbles, and then we'll do a little bit of TA. So make sure that you all are strapped in and smashing the like button. We do this every day. Every single day we go live at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and then a couple of days throughout the week we'll also go live at 9 a.m. So let's start off here with the bubbles. And there is one coin that is standing out, is the meme coin here, SPX. That is, Crux and I were looking at this coin and kind of its website and some of the stuff around it earlier this morning. An interesting pick here. Way too risky for folks who are newer to crypto, but it's an interesting cultural development in the crypto space here. Aave up 7.1%, Sui down 5.5%, FTM, Phantom up 5.8%, Dogecoin up 6%, HNT down 4.3%. Stacks coming up strong here, up 4%. Ohm doing real nice here, up 10%, and Rune up 6.2%. So there's a lot of noteworthy movement today. A couple of coins are going to the downside. In the case of Sui, down 5.5%, and Say down 3.1%, but Caspa down 1.5%. But there's plenty of names here as well that are moving to the upside, and they're not just meme coins. AVAX up 2.8%. As I mentioned, Aave up 7%. Injective up 2.4%, right? A lot to get excited about, and potentially some discounted crypto out there as well to try to buy on the dips. So let's jump into the crypto. Let's jump into the Bitcoin charts here, and this is going to be really exciting because we actually are putting in some levels here. We're moving to the upside. We might actually start to see some very, very bullish movement this week. Depending on how a couple of things go that we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. So let's get into the Bitcoin TA here. I'm out on the 4-hour already, and you can see that there is some very bullish movement going on here. MACD, green histograms, accelerating, exactly what we want to see. Even getting separation between the signal line and the MACD line there. That is signaling that the bullish momentum is gaining, right? That's what we want to see. And then on the green histograms accelerating there, as I mentioned. Okay, and then let's take a look here at the hyperwave on the oscillator matrix from Lux Algo. This money flow is about to flip green on the 4-hour, very bullish. The one thing that I don't absolutely love is how high this hyperwave already is. Would love to see that closer to down here, just heating up. But ultimately, this is bullish, and this is Bitcoin. It's going to run regardless of how overbought oscillators are saying that it is. Let's take a look here at the actual price. The biggest thing that's jumping out to me is that on the 4-hour, our candlesticks have closed a higher low here, and then a much higher low here, and a higher low here. So consecutive higher lows. very, very bullish. And then also these wicks down here, higher lows. It's hard to look at this chart and think it's bearish. I'm going to present here in just a minute or two why I think that we don't absolutely blast off just yet. But this is looking bearish. Let's go out to the daily chart and see what we can pull out here. I'm going to throw on the Bollinger Bands. You can see that Bitcoin has been able to stay up above this midline of the Bollinger Band on the daily chart, showing investors that this is a serious movement that deserves allocation here. Let's take a look at the oscillator matrix here. This is a lot better. If you know what I'm talking about with getting overbought and oversold, this is ready to run. The oscillator has reset, meaning up here, investors are a little bit more hesitant to buy the underlying asset because it's a little bit overbought, right? Whereas here, it is just prime for the picking. Investors are looking at this oscillator and they're saying, let's go, even getting some reversal candy here as the money flow is moving positive. So bullish. I haven't seen too much bearish yet. Now, I want to show you really quickly something that's very interesting, a little bit of MACD analysis I noticed this morning. What we're seeing right here, I'll zoom back in on it. We're seeing where the MACD lines have essentially changed paths, right? Here was a natural movement of a test higher and then a movement lower, a loss in momentum and a resumption of bearish momentum down, right? That's what a natural movement looks like. Right here, this is what a reversal, potential reversal looks like, or a break of trend looks like, I should say. So you have the bullish histograms accelerating, right? And then you have a natural rollover as it becomes overbought. But look what we're seeing right here. This is what I'm paying attention to. The MACD line has said, not so fast. I'm going to come back up and test this and see if I can reverse it and make it move higher. So when have we seen this in the past? It's not that often. We saw it actually somewhat recently, right around here. We saw the signal line penetrated back to the upside after a cross. So we had the cross here, bearish cross, and then we had a repenetration through that signal line of the MACD line. Okay. Now ultimately this failed, right? This did not come back down. But let's take a look at what happened during this period of time over on the price charts. This was when Bitcoin was moving much higher. Now again, it went ahead and got shellacked and got smacked back down and got had a big move back to the downside, right? But let's look at the time before that the MACD lines went ahead and had a test back higher. So if we look back, the last time that this happened, and this is what I'm kind of thinking may happen again, is right here, right? The MACD line broke down below the signal, but then we're going to retest, and then had a breakout, right? So what happened then, this is only the second time this has happened, is that we had a huge movement higher, right? A big move higher. At the time, this was very, very bullish. And again, this is not like the MACD is not a prophecy. In fact, the MACD is usually a lagging indicator. What this is, though, is it doesn't happen that much. And what we're seeing right now, when it does happen, it signals there could be more movement to the upside, right, for price. But also, when it happened back in, it would have been really early March. Let's go back and see when this was. This was February, right? So in the lead up to March, late February, right? This signaled a huge move higher, right? So could we be seeing that again here? I think that's what a lot of investors are zeroing in right now, looking at the MACD, saying, wow, this MACD line is actually saying there were, and then also if you look at the red histograms down here, they were starting to grow and then had an immediate deceleration, right? So all of this is pointing towards investors are looking at this chart and they're thinking bullish. They're thinking this is not something I want to be scared of. Now I've been saying, hey, we're not going to get up above 70,000 until after the U.S. elections are over. And so far, I've been right. However, we did get a breakout of this pennant right here. As you can see, we had a test here, we had a retest here, but we have now broken out of this pennant, of this downtrending line of support here on the daily chart. And this is potentially what's going to get us up above 70,000. Now this goes ahead and this gets us into that. So that was our Bitcoin TA. Go ahead and smash the like button for me. Really appreciate you all tuning in. And but this is going to go ahead and get us into our news segment. And before we get into our news, uh, Crux, you had a little bit of analysis about Pumptober, which we are very quickly coming to the end of. We have a little bit, like a day, 24 hours more than a week. So we have basically a week left in Pumptober. Let's do a little bit of Pumptober analysis. We'll go to your screen for that.
All right, as we can see, October 8.25%. It's looking good. In crypto, we like to make up these names. It's October, right? We swap the name to Pumptober because traditionally it goes up, 21.68% every single October since Bitcoin, was tracked in 2013. Usually September's pretty bearish, but Sui performed well, so people are calling it Sui Timber. So these are things that I like to, as I'm in crypto, I pay attention to.
Sure.
What cryptos are doing doing good in what months. But most importantly, November is the most bullish month in crypto. And I can see that here at 46.81%.
Wow.
And this is Bitcoin monthly returns. So Pumptober is cool. It's going to be proven correct, most likely, unless we get a retracement in the next coming days. But, a lot of people like to call November Moonvember. So just that's right around the horizon. Hopefully we stay steady. And more importantly, let's go by the quarterly returns. So on average, quarter fours, which is what we're currently at, is an average of 82%, and then quarter one is an average of 56%. So the two most bullish quarters in crypto are right ahead of us, and I'm just super bullish, especially with the price breakdown of Bitcoin that Tshroom just gave us.
Yep, absolutely. I love it, Crux. So you're tuning into the Investing Bros. Maybe you're watching for the first time. Maybe you're watching for the fifth time. You're not completely sold. Do you like these bros? Well, so far, we've talked about the crypto bubbles. We've talked about those. We've talked about the Bitcoin chart. And now we've just talked about the different month cycles and how they're perceived. These are all ways to predict the price action of assets. In our case, we like to look at crypto, but we also look at Forex. We also look at stocks every once in a while. If these methods of analysis are intriguing to you, go ahead and check out the links below to our Discord, where we have a teeming community of folks who are dedicated to learning, trading, and investing. You can access that Discord right here. This is the link. It's below. If you scroll on mobile or desktop, it's directly below what you're watching right now. This is the free Discord. And if you're ready to make that investment in the future of your trading and investing career, go ahead and check out this membership tier. And this is the Brolux memberships where you can take that next step with us. Crux, the news is pretty slim today, but we do have a couple of headlines. Hong Kong says they will issue more crypto exchange licenses by the end of 2024. This is just generally bullish. I wouldn't say it's mega bullish because this is going to be, this is Hong Kong, which is a smaller market than the U.S., but it's a sizable, it's a significant market. Excuse me. But it's really going to be more bullish for exchanges that that are going to try to compete with the incumbent there in Hong Kong. So pretty big. This could potentially be signaling a thawing towards crypto in China more generally. Of course, Hong Kong is technically part of China. It is part of China, and the fact that they're moving in a regulatory direction that brings more freedom to the crypto industry. You can perceive this as bullish. It's not necessarily going to be bullish for crypto prices, I would say. It's kind of agnostic in that way, but it's definitely bullish for potential Chinese rotation into crypto assets, which could be bullish. So let's move on to this next story, which I want to get your thoughts on here, Crux. Elon Musk, maybe you've heard of him. He says he can help reduce U.S. government annual spending by $2 trillion if Donald Trump is elected president. We'll do a quick check here. Donald Trump actually is ahead in the betting spread, 65% to Kamala Harris's 34.8%. Crux, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts here on the lead up to the election? I don't think we're going to get 70K Bitcoin until the election is over. It could be a moment, just 1 minute after the election's over, once it's called. But I personally don't think we get above 70K until then. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on Elon Musk being able to reduce the spending by $2 trillion?
So I think the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE acronym, is kind of a meme, but at the same time, it's a very realistic position that does fit within, within our country's, limits. I do think that, as tax-paying citizens, that we are, given an injustice. And I know this by, even if you go and watch what Donald Trump and Joe Rogan were talking about on the interview with,
Hmm.
I think it was like 6 different electronic vehicle stations, and it costs billions of taxpayers' dollars for these kinds of things. There needs to be a position that's able to efficiently filter through, who's doing what. And then we also know that there's a lot of fraud, especially with, contractors and having to redo projects for finding the slightest mishap in a project. They'll redo it, and the government has to pay again. And I definitely think Elon Musk is a good, suitable
Hmm.
position or a candidate to be able to, filter it, because this is what he's done essentially his entire career, is finding who was good at what. We
Hmm.
know Elon Musk was tied into OpenAI, PayPal, Tesla, and just so many different things. So he's essentially a visionary that knows how to lead. And then as far as the price of Bitcoin on November 5th, I do think we'll be above 70K, but I don't think we'll break 73, whatever, 73.6, if that's the all time high.
Hmm.
70K is a very psychological number, but we'll see if we push through that.
Yep. Absolutely. There's 70K right here, where my crosshairs are at. We're currently at 68,900, and then that all-time high line up here at 73,741. Let me do some live price analysis to 70K. It's only a 1.6% hop. That is doable by the time I'm
It's
finished making this sentence, right? And then up here, a 6.8% move to all-time high. So very, very, very close. What I'll say though is, regardless of the fact that Bitcoin only has to do less than 2% to get above 70K, it has not been able to do that yet. It has stayed within this range here of, call it, 69, just below 69K, and to the actual candlestick, not to the wick, call it like 66, 67. So we do have to break that range, right? And my whole thing is that we're not gonna. I think that we stay coiled, and it's just the same traders, the same buyers and sellers that are existing on the actual float in the actual exchanges right now. But there's about to be a whole lot more buyers that pour into these exchanges that boost the price higher, right? So right now, again, I think it's kind of a little mini casino saying, hey, what's the price going to do and when? And in the trading hub with Investing Bros community, we're trying to predict that, right? We're trying to play that shorter time frame casino. But in the long time frame, when you zoom out, I think that we see a continuation of the trend for Bitcoin that's been here for a very long time, which is very much up and to the right. And it's going to be pretty explosive, in my opinion, here very, very shortly. But believe it or not, there will be assets that outperform Bitcoin. We're going to get into those right now. We're going to tell you our top 3 coins that we think are really good buys right now, coins that are worth buying even today, even as I'm speaking now. Crux, we'll start with yours first. What is your top? What is a great coin to pick right now?
All right. So first of all, I just want to break down DCA, because everyone,
For sure.
some people DCA, some people don't. I think most people probably DCA in crypto. But what I do is I usually buy around the first or the second of every month. So I DCA on a 30-day time frame or so. So what I'm doing here on CoinGecko is I'll filter it by the 30-day, and I compare it against the last buys that I bought. I was buying Sui about 30 days ago at about $2 or $1.98 or so. So if Sui's cheaper now, then it's actually a better buy relevant to my last purchase. So me, what I like to do is I like to filter this right here. You can just click this right here. And 2 of my picks, Arweave and Caspa, are both down pretty significantly. And I think these are both very good pickups. I'll go ahead and jump into my first play, Caspa, and explain why. So Caspa is this block DAG that I personally believe in. It's a decentralized in nature, but the difference between a blockchain and a block DAG is pretty it's revolutionary in my opinion. So the idea of being able to not have to go linear in terms of block structure and be able to separate by using Caspa's heavy hash weighting system, it allows you to have to compete to provide efficiency to the block DAG, which, the creator of this technology, he is behind this. So that's why I've been very bullish on Caspa for a while now. We've seen it pull back quite a bit lately. And a lot of people's asking me, Crux, should I buy Sui now? Should I buy Tau now? But, especially now, I think Caspa is definitely the better buy of those three. And yeah, so Caspa would be my first pick out of my top three.
Very nice. Very, very nice. I'm going to go ahead and jump on into, and I agree with that. I think Caspa is an excellent pick right now. The only reason I haven't picked it is because we've been talking about it so much here on the channel, guys. If you don't know Caspa, of the ones we're going to talk today, Caspa is probably the one to take the most serious. But I am glad that Crux picked it because I did not. I picked a couple different ones. The first one I want to show you is Filecoin. So Filecoin as a project, I'm not like jumping out of my seat bullish on it. I think it's going to do pretty well generally. I don't think it's going to, outperform, names like Solana or Sui, like the hottest names in crypto right now. But I do think it's going to do well. So let me show you all why I think that. And that is because it's underbought, right? It's just the classic underbought scenario. How do we know it's underbought? Because we can look at the oscillators on the daily chart. It is underbought, right? It's not the most underbought out there, but it is pretty underbought, especially for its market cap tier. What do I mean by this? Okay, so when you look at an oscillator, you can tell the distance from the 50 line is how exaggerated an underbought or undersold scenario is. So right here, this would indicate underbought, right? Now, if we had the line coming much further down to around 20, it would be even more underbought, right? So that would be better. That would be a better buy for you if you're someone who's looking to buy low and sell high. So overall, that is the main reason I like Filecoin. Again, as a project, I think it's mediocre, but it's not bad, right? The file storage narrative, getting into that type of stuff. It's bullish, right? It's a little bit milquetoast, it's a little bit vanilla, it's a little bit boring, right? But sometimes boring does well. And there will be a moment for each coin, right, within the bull market. So this would be a good one to invest in and potentially a trade to enter now. Again, I think that this is also bullish. Again, still sticking here on the daily, you can see that the red histograms are decelerating, meaning bears are kind of losing their grip, bulls are gaining a grip. It still has a ways to go, however. It still need to get back to that zero line for the MACD. And the MACD lines need to curve back over. But if you're buying now, right, you're buying potentially before that cross happens in the potential explosive movement, right? So that's the long and the short of Filecoin there. I'm not going to sit here and belabor it, but that's Filecoin. And my other coins are much more exciting. Don't worry. But yeah, I think it's not too bad. I think it's not too bad. And let me show you one more thing. The explosive potential of Filecoin, right? So even just getting back to the March highs for Filecoin would be pretty bullish because it would essentially do from live price a 250% movement. Now that's to the wick, right? But that's pretty bullish. Now going back to all-time highs, which again, there's too much dilution in this coin, I think, to get to all-time highs. But as you can see, I mean, this is going to be absolutely insane to try to scale out to its 2021 highs. But a lot of newer investors are going to come into the space and they're going to do exactly what I just did. They're going to see 6,500%, and they're going to say, wow, it's a solid project. It's definitely not a scam. It's in the top 100. The bros think it's going to stay in the top 100. They think it's going to stay in the top 50, actually. And, if it goes to its wick, it's going to do 8,000%. If it just goes to the candlesticks, it's going to do 6.5. So, of course, I don't think it's going to get back that high. However, a lot of noobs are going to think that, and they're going to buy it. Crux, what's your second pick?
My second pick is actually Arweave. I did mention it earlier. Now, it's down almost 30% in the past 30 days. To me, that's a huge buy signal. We know that Arweave has almost done a 15x this cycle from its bear market low to its cycle high. So it's done very well. It also has followed Bitcoin. So whenever Bitcoin, peaked out, that's whenever it peaked out. And then whenever Bitcoin retraced, that's whenever Arweave began to retrace. The issue with Arweave currently is we're not seeing the best, we're not seeing start to pump back up with Bitcoin. So that's a little concerning. However, we see that Bitcoin, it's in its second cycle. It followed Bitcoin perfectly to a T last bull market, and it got a higher high in the second peak. These are the type of things that I look at as an analyst: is how similar does it correlate to Bitcoin in terms of price action, and is it outperforming Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin went from 16K to 73K this cycle, which is a 4.5x. Now, Arweave is crushing Bitcoin, but the first now we're starting to see this issue of, are we going to begin to pump back up? I do believe that we're going to go to a higher high, and break all-time highs sooner than later, hopefully by the end of the year. But we'll see. It all determines. It's all decided by Bitcoin itself. But from the 1 hour, 24, the 7-day, 14-day, 30-day, all just bearish on Arweave. However, I do believe that this project is very good. It's very similar to what Tshroom was talking about, Filecoin. So it's a decentralized web, essentially, that's there to allow you to lend your data storage to others in terms of getting a reward in Arweave or File token. That being said, Arweave has had pretty big partnerships. We see Meta right here. Back in 2022, they had an NFT. Meta was going to use the NFTs on the platform Instagram, and it was going to be done through Arweave. So we know the vetting processes of Arweave is a solid project. It's been around for a long time. It's following Bitcoin, and I'm very bullish on this project.
There you go. Now, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I do have a counterpoint to Crux's point. And he kind of hinted at it. He kind of mentioned it. But I do want to illustrate why I don't think Arweave is a good buy right now. But keep in mind, this doesn't have anything to do with Crux. This is just what makes a market, right? Crux is sitting here saying it's a good buy right now, and I'm here saying, not so fast, right? But ultimately, it's up to you as the investor, up to you as a trader to determine what is the best. And I think this is a great moment because it illustrates that there are very smart people in the market who can take different positions of a trade. So let's take a look here. Let me show you guys something about Arweave right now. Going back to about June, price analysis, we've unfortunately seen lower lows here, consistently lower lows. Whereas if you compare that to even just Ethereum, right, kind of the king of cryptos here, you've actually seen a consecutive higher lows after a period of correction. You've got a pretty convincing reversal here in trend, and now we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. So even just with Ethereum, kind of the bigger, harder to move coin, a much bigger market cap coin, we're even seeing higher lows. Same thing for Filecoin. Even though this isn't as sexy of a move to the upside as Ethereum was that I just showed you, right? It is still technically higher highs after this reversal and continuation to the upside in crypto in general for altcoins. So that compared to my next coin here that I'm pretty bullish on is Dogecoin. So you can see very same price structure, right? It came in, was putting in lower lows here for a while. Since June, but then all of a sudden something changed, right? Something changed, and investors said, actually, we're going to put in one more lower low from a candlesticks, but after that it's over. And since then, it has just been higher low after higher low until now we've gotten a pretty big breakout. Now, why is this? Because Dogecoin is just a meme coin, right? There's no file storage. There's not really a use case. You could come up with a story for a use case. You could say Tshroom. There is use cases for any blockchain, right? But I'm going to tell you this is a meme coin. But the reason why is 100% because of this guy right here, right? It's Elon Musk talking about an entire department that is going to be spun out of the U.S. government. And if Donald Trump wins, you're going to be hearing Department of Government Efficiency, Department of Government Efficiency. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be in all the headlines because that's what Elon Musk is going to be doing. And there's a good chance that Congress is going to try to shut down, right, the Department of Government Efficiency, right? So there's going to be all of this battle. It's going to be everywhere, and with the ebbs and flows of it being in the headlines, so too will it correlate with kind of the price action, in my opinion. So, is this one to put as much capital into as Bitcoin and Ethereum? Absolutely not. It's a meme coin. This should be seen kind of as a little bit of a casino, a little bit of a fun way to bet on culture and kind of political outcomes. But I do think that even where it is today, it's still pretty underbought. Obviously not as underbought as Filecoin, and certainly not as underbought as Arweave, right? But sitting here currently at around 67, it's still a good ways. It has still a good bit of room to run here, especially if Bitcoin were to break out anytime soon. Crux, what's your third pick?
My third pick. So first, Bluff City Break says, "Oh wow, all top 50 coins." This one's for him. All right, so I have Cetus Protocol,
Okay.
right? So Cetus, if so here with 92 million dollars in the past 24-hour spot trading volume. If I come over here to something like Jupiter, it's actually very similar. They are a little bit different. So Cetus is a AMM matchmaker as opposed to Jupiter being strictly a DEX, but these are comparable nature. These are comparable, and I see
Sure.
a project that's outside of this top 700 in Cetus, comparing it with something that's barely outside the top 50 currently. So what I've spotted as an analyst is I see this thing has very good spot trading volume in an ecosystem that's continually that is being adopted currently. Sui at one point was over 1 billion in total TVL, so currently sitting just outside 900 million. TVL is the total value locked, which is basically all the decentralized apps. If you were to add them all together, that's how much they are worth. So Sui is thriving, and I can come down here and I can see all the best decentralized apps on Sui. This website's called DeFi Llama. It's one of the best in my opinion. But I see Sui at number 3, right, for the decentralized apps, but it's number 1 in the DEX category. So what I've done is I found a good ecosystem. I'm looking at the DEX play, which ones are going to win. I have Cetus here, and then there's one called Turbos down here, which is in second, but it's pretty significantly off. So what I'm still kind of waiting on, I need this to pull away a little bit more. 183 mil in TVL is nothing to scoff at. But it's in an ecosystem that is thriving. And if we go back, this is the same analysis that I used on Radium. So actually, I started talking about Radium here in this community when it was outside of the top 200. But this was some analysis that I did when it was about 170 or so. And what I did is I compared Radium's numbers with Jupiter. Again, Jupiter at this time was in the top 50. It was a hot project, but Radium was crushing it in almost every single metric. And I was like, it makes no sense that this thing is barely, inside the top 200. And currently, this past weekend, Radium, I want to say, is in the top 90 or so. In the past 30 days, I believe it's up 2x. Like, Radium's crushing it. And that's because, again, if you're able to find these things early, the DEXs, do not sleep on them. They performed very well this cycle, and I think they'll continue to perform well. So Cetus Protocol, the DEX for Sui, I have my eyes on it.
Very good. Very good. All right, we're going to wrap it up here with my last pick, and that is Aptos. You guys can go ahead and check out more about Aptos, but I will very briefly kind of give you a description why I think it's going to do very bullish, and it is essentially because it could be seen by investors as the sister coin to one of the hottest coins of October, Sui. So if you look into the history of the Diem blockchain and Libra, which was started by Facebook, essentially those teams were forced to break up by regulators, and they went on to create these coins, these projects here, and most notably Sui and Aptos. So Aptos, is there something magical going on there? I think that there's, not necessarily, but it's a contender, right? It's a major contender, and I think that also, if you take a look here at the hyperwave again from Luxalgo on the daily, you can see that it is, say it with me, underbought or oversold, right? So very, very good. Also getting some reversal candy here on the daily. So bullish money, positive money flow here, and it's continuing to trend higher. I think we're getting a ever so slightly lower, higher low, with the with the money flow there. So that's being picky though. Zooming back out, Aptos just generally looking pretty bullish. Back up to its March highs, you could see Aptos, if it gets back to its wick highs of March, up 118%. Getting back to those candlesticks would give you a nice 100 piece, the 103% back from live prices. Is Aptos the best thing since sliced bread? If you think Sui is, then you probably should have a similar argument that Aptos is too. It's just the one that popped back in March, and then it was Sui's turn, and so then you have to ask this question, could Aptos get another rotation And I think the answer is yes, right? Do I think it's the best thing ever? Do I think it's the Ethereum killer? No, I just don't. But this is crypto. There's rotations, there's narratives, there's PR cycles, there's marketing campaigns, and we haven't seen one from Aptos in a while. It's currently underbought, and that's why I like it. That is why I like it. So those are the 6 coins. For me, it was Aptos, Dogecoin, and Filecoin. Crux, when you want to say yours again before we close out?
Yes, Caspa, Cetus, and Arweave. And I've seen a lot of people in chat posting some pretty good plays out there. I do respect those calls, but again, we don't want to stay too, in the degen low cap and, provide that kind of content to too many people. We like to stay a little safer over here. And yeah, that's why we're mainly in the top 100 and whatnot. But there's opportunities that exist. Jump in the Discord and we definitely talk about them there. And then just to briefly go through the newsletter, Tshroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on Monday mornings, we release the newsletter, and it's really just here to prepare you for the week ahead. So there's a table of contents here, but we talk about how well the ecosystem or the platform's doing, the community's doing. Our X Spaces, which is Monday later on today. Fear and greed and how well crypto's doing. The stock watch section for you stock hunters out there.
Ooh.
This is actually pretty big this week. We have 20% of the S&P 500 companies reporting earnings this week, such as Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Apple. So expect a very volatile week. I also throw a gem pick in there. So, I've done, I think, 33 newsletters at this point. And the gems, I track them and they've done fairly well. So, I talk about the Bitcoin monthly performance that I talked about earlier. And then lastly, the important things that are, happening within macroeconomic conditions. In this particular, it's all United States, such as like inflation data or jobs report, these kinds of things. Just gets you ready for the week ahead. And, it's just part of our basics Brolex plan. So if you're thinking about getting, a head start on your week ahead, the newsletter is definitely a good tool you can use.
Yep, and we don't talk about it enough. That newsletter is a part, it is a benefit of our Brolux membership. So go ahead and check those out. Crux, this has been absolutely fantastic. So much for joining me. This has been a ton of fun, and I want to thank you all for coming on and watching. Make sure that you smash the like button and consider subscribing. Crux, any last words before we sign off?
No, I appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to have a good week ahead, hopefully, in crypto. But remember, even if crypto's not doing well, there's a whole life outside of there. Just, stay focused on the good things and what motivates you as an individual. And yeah, stay blessed.
Absolutely. And with that, we will see you all at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll also see you in the Discord 24 hours a day. Adios.